I think it's very hard to go to E3 this year without being confronted by Star Wars Battlefront. It's out front center in tents. It's at Sony. It's huge at EA, huge at the press conferences, and in the middle of it all, here you are. You showed us the AT&T the Walker assault at the Sony or the EA press conference, right? Let's talk about Star Wars Battlefront from the beginning when you started on the game. What was your vision for this game?
Our vision for this game has been to immerse the player in their Star Wars battle fantasies, whether they're the large-scale fantasy of something like Walker Assault or the fantasy of being one-on-one Jedi versus Jedi, and everything in between, as well as dogfighting in starfighters and controlling an ATST or all of those fantasies. That's what we wanted to deliver on.
It's such a Star Wars to me is such an important thing, such an important part of my life, and it feels so great to see these environment coming to life in a game in this way, because basically it's never been done before. This fidelity. Just played a mission on Tatooine co-op, and we got Hoth there, which it's just it's such a powerful thing to see it in action.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously at DICE we have an incredible team of artists, and we have a super powerful platform in the Frostbite engine. And we had the vision of realizing Star Wars like it's never been realized before. And I think that people would agree that we're delivering on that vision.
I think for me it's every single little detail, like just shooting the blaster and watching what it does to the environment, hearing it, and sort of there must be so much that goes into something simple as just a blaster shot.
Yes, it does, and that's where our collaboration with Lucasfilm comes in, because they've given us an incredible access to the original props from the movies. So we've been to Skywalker Ranch and been to the archives, and we've used a technology called photogrammetry to capture these assets and bring them into the game. And we've done the same with the natural environments. We've gone to Finse in Norway to capture Hoth. We've gone to the redwood forests in California to capture Endor. And that really, enables us, because these are the original locations from, where the movies were made, we're bringing those to life in the most accurate detail that, is possible. And then, of course, we also have access to the John Williams music. I mean, what's Star Wars without that music? And then we also have the original sound stems from the movies that we use for the game. So in order to create like the most authentic experience ever, I think we have all of the ingredients that are needed for that.
And I think one of the challenges, because Battlefront is inherently a multiplayer game, and of course DICE legacy in multiplayer is there, but there's also, of course, people want to play it themselves or just with a friend, and you're bringing that with missions, which I was surprised at how much there was there and how much variation there is to the gameplay there. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I think, you've hit on something in that, you want to be able to play the game by yourself, or you want to be able to play the game with a friend through split-screen co-op, and we really, really wanted to bring that. So with the missions, we have 4 types of missions. We have trial missions, which is, short missions where you play to learn, to master different aspects of the game. And then we have the survival missions, which is what we showed at the Sony press conference, the survival mission on Tatooine, where you, either by yourself or with a friend, take on hordes that are, ever increasing in difficulty of AI enemies. And then we have battles where you, supported by AI, duke it out with another player who's also supported by AI. And the battles you can also play as hero battles, so you could play as a hero versus a villain, and you'd both be supported by AI. And all of these you can play either by yourself or with a friend through online co-op or split-screen co-op. And for us, that's incredibly important for to enable people to just get jump into the game, get into the action, and also as sort of a stepping stone before you graduate to multiplayer. Because for some people, jumping directly into online multiplayer is daunting.
I think you're doing a lot of interesting things there. The heroes are also something that I love to talk about. You revealed 3 so far, as far as I know: Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Boba Fett. What kind of thinking goes into designing them and matching them up, especially now that they're gonna face each other in that mode in missions? What kind of thinking goes into that?
The thinking that goes into the heroes is we want to make it, when you're playing multiplayer and you find a hero power-up in the level, You get to become one of these iconic heroes or villains from the original trilogy, and you know, it's extremely important for us to keep the characteristic of that hero. You know, whether it's Boba Fett with his, you know, jetpack and flamethrower, or whether it's Darth Vader with the lightsaber and you know, his stature and the way that he moves. That's been really important to make sure that we, you know, deliver on their characteristics, so that you really feel like you're playing that character that you know and love, but also that the gameplay is fun and interesting. And then of course we have to balance them all versus each other. So there's a lot of thinking that goes into it, both from a sort of fantasy fulfilling but also game mechanic perspective.
Because you want them to be that powerful as they are in the movies. Like Luke Skywalker would not have any problems with any stormtroopers. No. He would be able to mow them down and sort of play a very pivotal role for his team in the battle. And I guess you want to create that without sort of maybe, you know, creating too much frustration for someone who's a stormtrooper.
Absolutely, and I think that's a challenge in the sort of, yes, we want them to feel super powerful. We want them to really be able to turn the tide of the battle. You know, if you're playing on the losing side and you get a hero pickup, you should be able to really make a dent in the, you know, in the opponent's side. At the same time, again, you know, you're playing as a stormtrooper, and you know, it might not be super pleasant to be mowed down by Luke. So that's obviously something that we have to solve and make sure that it feels rewarding to play against a hero as well as playing a hero.
And maybe that also sort of lends itself to avoiding that hero if you are a stormtrooper, which is sort of what happens in Star Wars as well, because you usually see the duel then between the two heroes.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, but I think, you know, what we've seen as we playtest is that as soon as someone becomes a hero, they actually become the focal point. Then everyone else just, you know, swarms in to attack them, which creates, I think, a very interesting dynamic for a multiplayer game.
Certainly. You've talked about Hoth, you've talked about Tatooine, you talked about Endor. Is there anything else any other environments that you will bring from the movies?
We're bringing an environment that's been referenced in the movies. We're bringing the planet of Sullust. We're familiar with Nien Nunb, who is the Sullustan that we're familiar with as Lando's friend. And this planet, DICE is creating the sort of official representation, visual representation of that planet. And that's the fourth environment that's a part of our base game, and it's incidentally based on my home country of Iceland. And then as a free DLC post, you know, in early December, we're actually giving a free DLC of the Battle of Jakku. So Jakku is another planet that we're bringing into the game.
What was that like, being able to create a planet from scratch in the Star Wars universe? That's is it then part of the sort of official lore, or well, how, I don't even know how they're dealing with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a known world, and the way that we create it, that becomes the sort of official visualization of that planet going forward.
Interesting. What can you tell us a little bit? Can you tell us a little bit more about the vehicles that you have in the game? It's going to work similar to how the hero pickups work, right?
Yes. So they are power-ups that you find in the level. So, you know, everyone has the same opportunity to get one of these power-ups because they're found through exploration in the levels. And the ones that we revealed so far are the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter, as well as the AT-ST and the AT-AT.
And then snow.
Yes, and yeah, we've shown you the snow speeder and then the speeder bike.
Yes. All right. Quite a lot of things. Are they sort of environment specific then, or will there be sort of a mode where you can play with your toys in any way you want?
That's kind of what we have in Walker Assault, which is the biggest mode. That you have you'll have the snow speeder, you'll have the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter, and you'll have the AT-AT and the AT-ST, as well as a speeder bike. So you'll have all of these vehicles present in the mode.
So, in addition to Walker mode, what other modes are you bringing to the multiplayer? Are you talking about that?
So we have talked about a mode called Fighter Squadron, which is a mode where you dogfight in starfighters. We've talked about yes, we have talked about, we have not revealed all of our modes yet. We have we have a list of modes on our website that we've already revealed.
All right. It's coming out in November. You can give us the date and the platform?
Yes, it's coming out November 17th for Xbox One, PS4 and PC.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.